Hello everyone. It is now halfway through week 3 of the online course development program for the fall semester 2014, which seems hard to believe. It seems like we just started. I have had the pleasure of meeting with pretty much everyone now and set up a bit of a plan for moving forward. And you may have also been contacted by Ross Bigelow if you were in the secondary group. I've already gone through this process one before. So those are getting started, and of course we will be starting up our group sessions. I know it's October, but that will be here sooner than we probably think it will be. So welcome to week 3. Right now you should be in our shared shell online course development workshop shell. You should be finishing up week 2, which is finalizing your objectives. And as we discussed in our one-on-ones, we also have deliverables. And the very first deliverable for week 2 was asking you to go in and set up your faculty bio. If you have the template put in your shell, you'll have one there about your instructor information, and if you have the regular shell, you'll also have that in there. So we ask you if you just go ahead and start getting into your Blackboard development shell and start working away in there. And the first one to start off with is to put up your bio. There are some, if you have the template, there's some recommendations, including why you teach this course, just so the students get to know you as a person. A photo is always nice, and a lot of our faculty actually will develop a welcome video where they introduce themselves and they give a bit of information about how to move through the course. So I'll leave that up to you. We will be talking about videos, and if you'd like to see some examples of those, I can get those together for you. So now we are into week 3, and we're looking at developing online assessments. So I'm just going to pop over to our shared shell. So here we are in topic 3, and as usual, you have an introduction and the recommended work. There's 2 articles for you to read, and then an activity to build out your course. Depending on if you've taught the course before or you haven't, this will be an easier or a harder task, but it is a recommended task to just sort of map it out in a different way and look at how this could be different for online. It also gets into different types of online assessments, so looking at things like case studies, journals, blogs. We'll be covering all these in more detail, but it's to get you started thinking about those. And then of course we have, Bob has always included the tips and tricks, so that's today's looking at the performance dashboard within Blackboard. So my suggestion would be to read these 2 articles and do this activity for sure. We can get into this in more detail a bit later on, but if you are moving through the topics week by week, which is the suggested if you're new to this program, these are 2, this is a really great activity, and these are 2 very good articles for you to review. So as we move forward, I do like to show examples of other people's works, of course with their approval. And the first one this week is looking at the use of worksheets. And a lot of our teachers in the past would use worksheets and sort of had to move away from it for logistical reasons. Departments cutting back on paper, who prints it, do I print it, do the students print it? And a lot of our online teachers are finding great success creating and deploying worksheets or templates or checklists to their students to help them move through. And again, when you're removed from the teaching environment, you have to build these scaffolds for your students to help them through. And I'm going to show you 3 examples right now, but I'm also going to attach them to the email that this video will be in for your review. So let's take a look at those. Okay, the first one here was developed by Mary Wurgler, and her course is Personal Finance. And this is an example of a very detailed worksheet that the students use each week to move through things. So she'll give them resources, she has videos and readings and different websites to go to. Then they need to come back to the worksheet and fill this in. She collects these, and they are part of the marking scheme. That's not the case in all situations, but that's how Mary's done it. So you see that this is sort of a guided lesson through her week. Okay, so that's an example of a very detailed one, and Mary will tell you these take her a long time to produce. So the first time through of an online course, these are a huge part of her development. It helps her with planning. It helps her with how long is this going to take the students to do, and then the return on investment comes for time-wise when she runs it multiple times. So she already has these developed. So the next example comes from us from Alanda Terrio, and this is a food and philosophy course, and this is a different type of worksheet where it's just more of places where the students can record their thoughts as they're moving through either her videos that she's created or other videos or readings, but it helps the students to organize their thoughts. This particular worksheet, she does not have them hand in. They use it for their study sheets, for their midterms and their finals and their quizzes. Okay, this is our last example, and this is also from Alanda, and this is gender and ethics, and this one's a little bit different where she's asking them pointed questions for them to answer, and so these are watch fors while they're reading an article. So they're looking for direct quotations from an article, and then they're going to use these quotes later on for an assignment. So the ROI for the students is that they're doing some of the work for a larger assignment. So I will attach these just for reference, but something to think about as you're going through, and this is especially important if your course doesn't happen to have a textbook, which is the case in Mary's, which is why hers pretty much looks like worksheets within a textbook, because Mary's had to develop those. Okay, and as you can see, she has them hand them in here, so they have a spot for their name and their student ID. The next area I just want to touch on quickly is now is a good time to start looking for media-rich resources for your online course. You're going to be developing some videos, some interactions. You could be working with Alyssa Bigelow to be creating some learning objects, but really at the end of the day you don't have time to develop everything. So it's looking around in your field for areas where you can find very good simulations, case studies, videos, things that you can bring in, and you may be already doing this when you're in class, so it's just starting to collect those. You can either collect links and then sort of go back and put them where they need to be, or you can be looking to embed them into your Blackboard shell where they fit. But it's looking at those things like PBS video, National Geographic, TED Talks. Now these might not work for your field, and you might have Health Canada links or other things, but it's collecting those in a way that makes sense to you. Some people will use things like bookmarks, or they'll use Dig or all those other ones, whatever makes sense for you. The simplest is collecting them in a Word document with links. Again, whatever it is that works for you, start collecting those, start looking for those, talk to other people who have taught your course if that's possible, what resources have they used, because you want to have different voices in your course rather than students just always listening to you. So if you can bring in experts, videos, or again simulations. If you're in the health field, there's some great simulations for different things, but it's starting to look at those and collect those. So again, just recapping quickly, please go into your dev shell and just get that faculty bio in there, start looking around, playing around in there. Topic 3, week 3, you're looking at assessment and also planning out your course. Put a bit of thought to worksheets and start to collect those media resources in whatever way makes sense to you. All right, so again, we'll be starting up our group sessions in October, the first Friday in October, and I'm looking forward to getting everyone together as a group. Thanks, guys.